Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you what I think is my new favorite bread machine recipe. I love this bread. It turned out so good, and it reminds me of a bread that I used to eat when I was growing up that my mama bought from the grocery store. So I'm going to tell you all about it and show you how I make it. I have all my ingredients ready so that I can get this quickly going and into the bread machine so that you can see what this bread is all about. Like I said, it's a cinnamon raisin bread, and it reminds me of the one, I don't know if you used to eat it, but it came from the grocery store. It might have been Sunbeam, I'm not positive, but it had like a little white icing on the top of it, and it was so good. So tell me if you also grew up eating that bread. I like to dip my paddle for my bread machine into some oil before I put it on the little rod that it goes on. I feel like that helps it go on easier, and it also helps it come off easier. So I just keep that little thing of olive oil in my bread machine pan when I have it stored, and then I always have it there ready to dip my paddle before I put it in. So we're going to get started with adding our liquid ingredients to the bread machine, and the first thing that I added is 3/4 of a cup of warm water and then 6 tablespoons of milk. This is an enriched bread because it's got milk and butter. So here I'm adding 3 tablespoons of butter that's at room temperature, so it's pretty soft, and it's going to go ahead and mix in with these other ingredients pretty easily. So the next thing we're going to use is some bread flour. I use the bread flour from Azure Standard, and I can link that for you. So I'm using 2 cups of bread flour here and 1 cup of whole wheat bread flour. And then I'm going to add my sugar. That's 5 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and a half to 3/4 of a cup of raisins. But I'm not going to add my raisins until the bread is partly kneaded. When the bread machine beeps for you to add things like that, that's when I'm going to add my raisins. And then this recipe also calls for 1 tablespoon of bread machine yeast. So now that we have all of these ingredients in here, we're going to go ahead and add them to the bread machine and get that going. I'm going to use the whole wheat setting since I have some whole wheat flour in here. I think the whole wheat setting needs it just a little bit longer. And then I'm going to choose the medium crust and the large loaf size because I'm making the 1.5 pound loaf. I have too many people eating bread at my house to make the small loaf. So I pretty much always choose to make the larger loaf, the 1.5 pound size loaf. So here it is. It's getting started mixing, and you can tell this is going to be kind of a darker bread due to the fact that it has cinnamon in it, it has whole wheat flour in it, and then that brown sugar probably adds to the darkness of the bread too. But it is going to be so beautiful when it's all baked. So here it is, starting with the kneading, and it takes a little bit of time before it really catches all that stuff on the sides. I used to watch it really close and kind of get stressed about that, but lately I've been really busy, so I just stick everything in there, close the lid, and I haven't ever had it not get all mixed in, so that's a good thing. So I'm just going to let it knead here for a while, and like I said, I'm going to wait until it beeps, and when it beeps, I'm going to add my raisins in there. So this is what it looks like after it got really all incorporated really well and kneading. So I told you before that I think this is like my new favorite bread, and I want to tell you why, other than the fact that it's really delicious and other than the fact that it reminds me of that cinnamon raisin bread that I loved when I was a little girl. It was such a soft bread. and it stayed soft. So many times with homemade bread, it comes out really good the first day. You know, it's really soft and it's delicious and you love it. But then the next day, it kind of gets a little bit hard. It's not as soft as it was the day before. And then the day after that, it gets a little bit harder and it's not as good anymore. So part of what I really like about this bread is that it stays soft. It doesn't start getting hard like that. And like I said, I think it's because it's enriched and it's got the butter and the milk and all of that stuff in there. But it just stays soft the whole time and it's so good. It's just really delicious. So be sure and try it. You can find the written recipe in the description box. And so that will make it a little bit easier for you to be able to make the bread at home. And if you do, please let me know what you think about it, whether you liked it or not, what you would do next time differently. And also let me know if you grew up eating that delicious raisin bread from the grocery store when you were younger. So here it is. It's just continuing to knead, and it's going to be pretty quickly here. It's going to be ready to add the raisins because it's been going for a pretty good while. Okay, so the timer's telling me that it's time to get those raisins added, and I used a half a cup of raisins this time, but the next time that I make this bread, I am going to be using more than that. I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup of raisins because I think it could have used a few more raisins. The raisins really add to the sweetness of the bread, and so yes, I think you can use anywhere from a half a cup of raisins to 3/4. If you don't like raisins, you don't have to add them to the bread, but they really do make the bread sweeter. So your bread will not be as sweet if you don't put the raisins in it. And here it's just going to have to grab all of those raisins and incorporate them into the dough. And then after this, as soon as it finishes mixing all those raisins in, it's going to sit here and go into the ferment cycle, or where it rises. The bread machine keeps it nice and warm while it's rising, and that's one of the things I really like about it too. It helps your bread just turn out good every time. All right, so it is risen, and for me, this is the perfect amount. I like for my bread to be right inside of the bread machine pan, not above the top of it and coming out. This is perfect for me. I really like where it's at, and it is fixing to go into the baking cycle. All right, after baking for about an hour, here it is. Isn't that the most beautiful bread? I love the color of it. I like my bread a little bit darker. Some people like a really light bread, but I'm not one of them. So I think this is a gorgeous bread. And it smells so good. It just smells so delicious with the cinnamon and all of that stuff in there. Now, you might wonder why I am fooling with this bread pan when it's so hot, but I like to get my bread out of the pan as quick as I can because I have found that if you leave it in there, sometimes it'll kind of sweat, and so then the edges, the outside edges of your bread will be kind of damp and mushy instead of more, not really crispy, but I don't know how you would describe it, firm like it should be. And so I don't like that to happen. I like to go ahead and get mine out of the bread pan and let it cool on a wire rack. And you can see here that I messed up the top of that gorgeous loaf of bread by letting it hit the wire rack, and it made these lines on it that never went away. They stayed the whole time. So yep, I should have dumped it out straight onto the cutting board, but this is it. It's so simple. A bread machine makes it, you're making your bread so easy. Like I said, I love this bread. Everybody in my family love this bread. This is definitely going to be like a bread I make every week because it's so good for breakfast. It's good for snacks during the day. The grandkids loved it. So, yep, this is going to be a weekly bread for us. So I hope that you'll give it a try. If you do, let me know what you think about it. If you like this video, please go subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that if you help me grow, and thank you for watching my videos, and I will see you back again with another video soon.